Yeah.
But let's get to our guest. We got Michael Johnson. He's the Executive VP of Strategy over at Redwood Logistics, and he's sitting in the green room right now. So let's bring him up. Also, Michael, I know something about him. So you can empathize very much with him. You have 3 daughters. He has 4 daughters. You're both girl dads fighting through the times. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, guys.
Where are we talking to you from right now? Where you hang out?
I am based in Austin, Texas.
Beautiful. Love Austin. I love Austin.
Yeah,
Might be going out
heck
to
yeah.
Hyliion later this month there.
Absolutely.
We want to talk to you a little bit today, though, about Rating API. Let's start with, what is Rating API?
Yeah, you bet. So the Rating API solution is really a solution that we're bringing to market to provide real-time rate and capacity visibility to shippers. And so, the best thing I can liken it to is what we saw with tracking visibility solutions almost a decade ago. We had FourKites and MacroPoint, Project 44, and others come onto the scene to drive tracking and location visibility. This solution provides rate and capacity visibility upstream in the planning process. So it's a pretty transformational solution for shippers and for brokers that can deploy it.
Yeah, so Michael, that makes perfect sense to me. So why is this so essential in today's market to have Rating API?
Yeah, that's a really good question. If you look at the demand the market has seen, the volatility and variability of demand, it's a demand planning tool. So this utility allows shippers to have capacity agility. So to plan their shipments from their existing transportation planning workflow and do it in a way that doesn't require phone calls or emails, and also quickly and confidently move to spot transportation when possible.
We've got more data than we know what to do with these days, and that in itself can be a problem, right? But how can Rating API help shippers effectively use this data? Because I think we're at that point in the data conversation too, right? Great. You got to collect it. You got to put it together. But how do we put it to use and actually make this actionable?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And to me, I think this really allows shippers to leverage their data more effectively. When we think about the existing transactional planning process, there are a lot of emails or phone calls or in some extent circumstances, fax machines used to acquire rates. And so as the industry moves towards more system interoperability, we can normalize the data, and shippers, from a control tower perspective, can have higher quality confidence that they're using the right provider and that they can index what the rates were in their database instead of having to track down what providers' rates were in emails and through phone calls.
So, Michael, those are the big hitters, and those are the big benefits and uses of this. What are some of the lesser known challenges that Rating API can help those people with?
Yeah, so you guys mentioned the demand in the market starting to fall out in March. One of the big benefits I think that's under-realized because the solution is so new is how this tool can be effective in a down market. And so at some point the market will inflect, and we've read those articles from Craig sort of predicting that downturn. This is a great tool when embedded in your routing guide to really give shippers confidence and visibility to where their contract rates stand against the market. And so as the market does, fall off, or when it falls off, they can start to see what that delta looks like between some of these inflated contract rates and what the transactional market has, and use that as leverage in their conversations with their supplier base.
So what separates this rating? What makes it better than any other Rating API tool out there? Why go with Redwood?
Yeah. So, for one, Redwood was one of the first providers of the Rating API solution in the market. We've had this tool plugged into shippers for over 5 years. So we've learned a lot along the way, and we have a dedicated data science team that is indexing all of the market-based data points, but also using market signals like those from FreightWaves to really optimize and accurately predict what our cost will be for shippers. We also support multiple modes, multiple stops, and we have 100% tender acceptance. So when it comes to having confidence that when you tender a shipment to Redwood, we will accept that tender no matter what. And then finally, our scale as one of the top 15 logistics providers in the market gives shippers confidence that we can flex to high capacity needs. So whether it's needing 10 trucks or 50 trucks, we have the wherewithal and the bandwidth to support their needs.
Before we let you go, are you seeing some of the softness in the market that we are? One of the focuses on today's show is actually side hustles for truckers to help insulate themselves and get their finances in order and make sure they're good in 2022. Are you seeing some of those volumes decline like we are?
We are not seeing the volumes decline, but we're certainly seeing some of the quote volume, have the impact you guys have seen. And, I think Craig's article resonated with me because one of the things that was obvious in the market was almost 24 hours after the Ukraine crisis started, we also observed some of that lower demand coming into the organization. So I think it's certainly something to watch. I am curious to see what happens as we approach the summer months, May and June. I think that'll be a really good indicator of how large of a macro call this is. But it's to be determined. And I can certainly support the feelings that Craig wrote about within our own operation.
Sure. And look, freight is cyclical. So getting your right data in order, getting your finances in order, learning the cost per mile of your truck, all of those things should be done in good times and bad. But with the specter of this looming, no better time than the present to go check out that API data that you guys have over there. Check out Redwood Logistics. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Michael.